Loyalty will get you everywhere. One defining characteristic of President Donald Trump has long been that he judges worth in part based on how loyal people are to him. And this week we're seeing this manifest rapidly in the form of something of a Trump loyalty rewards program, pardons and job offers. Let's start with his latest pardon palooza. Yesterday he pardoned his reality TV brethren Todd and Julie Chrisley, who could walk out of prison in Pensacola, Florida at any moment. The two are stars of the show Chrisley Knows Best on USA Network.
We're the Chrisleys, Todd and Julie Chrisley. We live in a neighborhood north of Atlanta, a gated neighborhood with celebrities here.
The Chrisleys traded that gated neighborhood for the gates of a prison. They were convicted of bank and tax fraud in 2022, conspiring to defraud banks in Atlanta of more than $30 million. Their Trump loyalty connection, the Chrisleys' daughter Savannah, spoke at the Republican National Convention last year. She helped campaign for Trump. Another Trump pardon yesterday went to Paul Walzak, a former nursing home executive who pleaded guilty to tax crimes. He admitted to using money earmarked for employees' taxes to fund his own rather extravagant lifestyle. The loyalty connection, his mommy dearest. The New York Times reports that Walzak's pardon application to Trump said that his mother raised millions for Trump and other Republicans, and also highlighted her role trying to hurt President Biden's 2020 campaign. But Walzak's reprieve did not come, the Times reports, until mom showed up last month at a $1 million per person fundraising dinner at Mar-a-Lago that included direct access to Trump. It is not clear whether Walzak's mom donated the $1 million. Still, a few weeks later, poof, a pardon. Before that, on Monday, Trump pardoned former Culpeper, Virginia Sheriff Scott Jenkins, as we reported yesterday, recently convicted of federal bribery charges, which outraged the good citizens of Culpeper County. He was caught accepting cash-stuffed envelopes from rich civilians who wanted badges, the loyalty connection. Well, Jenkins is a long-time Trump supporter who reportedly appealed to Trump directly for clemency. More in just a moment on Trump's talk today of yet another controversial pardon possibility. But first, the other benefit of Trump's loyalty rewards program. After Trump fired inspectors general at 19 government agencies in an unprecedented purge at the beginning of this new administration, some of his picks to replace those inspectors general have rather partisan backgrounds with a history of MAGA Trump loyalty. Trump's inspector general nominee for Health and Human Services, for example, Thomas March Bell, resigned from a government job over an allegation of mishandling $8,000 in taxpayer money. There's Trump's choice for Veterans Affairs watchdog Cheryl Mason. Cheryl Mason remains a senior advisor to the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Doug Collins, according to documents reviewed by CNN, which might, of course, make it difficult to be an independent voice of oversight over his department. Trump's pick to investigate waste, fraud, and abuse at the Department of Labor is Anthony D'Esposito. He is a Trump-supporting former Republican congressman who lost his New York seat to a Democrat after D'Esposito was accused of putting his mistress and his fiance's daughter on his payroll. Taken together, it could all be perceived as a great deal of incentive to join the Trump loyalty rewards program, though points, we should note, do expire. Let's go to CNN's Caitlin Collins. Caitlin, more Trump pardons coming down just in the last hour.
Yeah, Jake, we saw the president earlier in the Oval Office, and clearly since then there has been a lot of use of the president's pardon power that has been happening here at the White House, because we already knew about some of these key names. The Chrisleys, as we reported on yesterday, the president called to inform their daughter that her parents would be getting a pardon. We should expect to see at least one of them leave prison as soon as today. Also, Michael Grimm, the former New York congressman, who has been pardoned as well. But we're also just getting a list of a slew of other names, Jake, that the president has now pardoned. That includes the former governor of Connecticut, John Rowland, who was twice convicted. It also includes a rapper who goes by the name of NBA Youngboy. He was convicted in some federal gun crimes cases, and a slew of other names on here as well, Jake. Kevin Basden, Mark Bashaw, Tanner Mansell, and John Moore Jr. A few of those names at the end that may not be household names, but clearly each have individual reasons why the president has chosen to grant them clemency with this power and to use the power that every president has, and certainly President Biden himself we saw using on his way out of the White House as well. But President Trump's, what's notable here, Jake, in addition to the names that you just read off, and clearly the connections that they have politically when it comes to this president, is seeing such a slew of pardons so early on in the administration. Trump came into his second term pardoning people on day one. He pardoned virtually everyone who was convicted in a crime related to January 6th from the Oval Office within hours of taking the oath. And then today we are continuing to see him use this power, wield this power. In addition to this list of pardons, Jake, there's also a few commutations as well that are included in this list. And one note, when we saw the president earlier inside the Oval Office, he was asked whether or not he is considering also pardoning the people who were convicted in the plot to kidnap the Michigan governor, Gretchen Whitmer, who herself was here at the White House not too long ago. And the president said, yes, he was, Jake.
Caitlin Collins, thanks so much. And Caitlin, of course, is going to have much more tonight at 9 on her own show, The Source with Caitlin Collins. CNN has some brand new reporting on the man in charge of helping secure new pardons for President Trump and how he's building this list. I want to bring in CNN Chief Legal Affairs Correspondent Paula Reed. Paula, tell us more.
So, Jake, after Ed Martin failed to secure confirmation as the U.S. attorney here in D.C., President Trump tapped him for two really big jobs at the Justice Department, one of which is the pardon attorney. Now, historically, this is an office that vets requests for clemency and makes recommendations to the White House. Something that is unique to President Trump is he makes a lot of those decisions himself. But now I'm told, with Martin in charge of this office, he has a whole staff that can help vet these requests that I'm told are pouring in from law firms, lobbyists, and interest groups, all trying to seek some form of clemency for various individuals. Now, I'm told Martin is going to ask everyone to fill out a traditional pardon application because, as you know, there have been a lot of questions about how exactly you get clemency from President Trump. So Martin trying to establish a paper trail here. I'm told he has already vetted dozens of requests for commutations and made recommendations on those. But this particular job, Jake, this gives him a lot of power to reward those who have been loyal to Trump.
And Paula, Ed Martin has also been tapped to lead the Justice Department's weaponization working group. What is that exactly? What have you learned about what he's doing at that job?
Yeah, he is a multi-hyphenate. He has multiple jobs here at the Justice Department. And on her first day in office, Attorney General Pam Bondi, she established this so-called weaponization working group, and she laid out its mission, which is to investigate what they allege is the weaponization of the Justice Department. In their definition, that means the state and federal investigations into now President Trump, as well as the prosecutions related to January 6th and some other conservative causes. Now, the Justice Department has been working on these investigations for the past few months, but now that they've put Martin in charge of this work, he is breathing new life into this. I'm told that in just the past few weeks since he took over, he's already sent letters, he has made calls, and even done in-person visits to some individuals he believes may have relevant information. Now, he has not sent anyone a letter to indicate that they are specifically a target of this investigation. Right now, he's just looking for anyone who can provide relevant information or who is willing to cooperate. But there is not an expectation that everyone is going to be willing to cooperate. Now, Martin has previously said even if he can't bring criminal charges against some individuals, that he may, quote, name and shame them, which, Jake, as you know, is sort of a violation of the norms at the Justice Department, which are that if you are not charged, usually they do not release any details related to your investigation.
All right, Paula Reed, thanks so much. Let's discuss this all with Maggie Haberman, the New York Times Pulitzer Prize winning White House correspondent who has a plethora of Trump knowledge and insight. Shocking but not surprising is a phrase that we use a lot during the Trump era. Like, I can't believe he did that, but on the other hand, I can completely believe he did it. For example, he pardoned those cop-beating January 6 prisoners. So is it really that surprising that he would contemplate pardoning the men convicted of plotting to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer, and yet here we are?
Right. No, I mean, look, it's not surprising. He has made expansive use of pardons, as you say. I was thinking as you were talking about the way in which these pardons, and some of this is reporting that my colleague Ken Vogel did about how people have made massive donations for pardons. I was thinking about the end of Bill Clinton's second term, where he issued a series of controversial clemency grants. Those got investigated. There were days and days of headlines. This has all been literally out of the gate with President Trump. He did this on his first day with the January 6th convictees, and he has continued to reward people who he thinks are loyal to him, and it's redefining a version of what he thinks is justice. It's people who are aligned with him, who are on the side of right, and people who are not are being looked at.
And
not everybody, but some.
Yeah, and Trump just nominated his former personal attorney, Emile Beauvais, to be a federal appeals court judge. He's currently a top Trump Justice Department official. How significant is that, do you think?
So it's interesting. First of all, even the idea that four of Trump's personal attorneys are in the top ranks of the Justice Department, I think back to, the Bill Clinton era. If he had put his personal lawyers there, what a daze of outrage it would have been, and it just sort of doesn't get much notice. Beau has been there for a very short amount of time. That's mostly what I am struck by, is that he is leaving after, I think it's less than 6 months. This nomination is coming after less than 6 months. And so I'll be curious to see who replaces him, but it gives Trump another ally as a judge in a court at a time when both Democrats and Republicans have figured out how to district shop.